Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sherard Show. I'm your host, Sherard. Hope you're having a wonderful Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we have an absolutely spectacular show. We have an absolutely incredible guest on the show. He is a champion. He's fought some of the greatest and some of the best, and he's one of the fastest boxers you could ever meet. And he stopped by the Sherard Show to talk about his career, his legacy, as well as the things he's doing after boxing. The man himself, Mr. Sugar Shane Mosley. But before we get to Sugar Shane, the Sherard Show is brought to you by the Pure Essence Television Network, where you can see some of the greatest episodes now trending, from the Temptations to the Isley Brothers to my Michael Spinks interview, as well as my Vito Antifermo and many more. Just click the link below and you can see the greatest episodes of your life. It's also brought to you by iHeartRadio. If you missed this broadcast on television, you can also listen to it on iHeartRadio. And then lastly, it's brought to you by my limited edition Rah Rah shoe collection, where every $1 goes to the fight for the cure for lupus. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I picked this great fighter up in 1998. I saw how fast he was. His punches, he was one of the most unique fighters because his punches had a snap to it, and his speed was unbelievable. He's fought some of the greatest, as Oscar De La Hoya twice, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez, just to name a few. And he's taken a little time out of his day-to-day to stop by the Sherard Show, the man himself, Mr. Sugar Shane Mosley. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. Thanks. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having you. You know, Shane, you're one of my dad's favorite boxers of all time because you have a unique style. You were so fast, but you also had great technique. Where did that come from?
I think I am a fan of boxing, of the old school boxing, and I grew up watching Sherard, Leonard, Tom Hurst, Duran, those guys, um, in the '80s, and I think that being in the ring with a lot of world champions, Zach Padilla, Chicanito Hernandez, when I was coming up, even Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. These type of I forgot Zuma Nelson. These fighters actually molded me into being the fighter that I was. When I was fighting. You know, taking up with the old school values, old school techniques and stuff like that. So I actually love the sport. Some fighters when they're fighting and stuff, they just want the money part of it. But I was that fighter that wanted to be great, just like Shea Leonard and those guys. So yeah.
You know, you mentioned a very interesting division in time. You're talking about with Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, Thomas
Mhm.
Hearns. Those fighters were absolutely incredible. And then you throw in John the Beast Mugabe and so many of those fighters.
Yeah.
Now, that was a time in boxing. I can't say who you feel was I felt was the most skilled, but in your opinion, who do you think your style marveled the most from those gentlemen?
Well, from the my name is Sugar, but I think that I kind of have more of the style of Sugar Robinson. A lot of people told me that when I fought, because I had the speed and the power, and the grit, like like Sugar Robinson. But I was, like I'm a good fan, I'm a big fan of Sherard Leonard, and and a friend of his as well, and his son, and Ray Leonard Jr. Ray Leonard Jr. was actually the one that did my after party after I beat Oscar De La Hoya in LA. so, um, so I'm really close with Sugar Leonard, and I actually met Sugar Robinson before he passed away too as well. So yeah, so I think that I most emulate Sherwood Robinson, a lot of people will say. But I love Sherwood Leonard.
You know, Sugar Ray Robinson, many deem him as the greatest to ever do it. He fought so long. People don't know he went on a 107 fight win streak. He won
Mhm.
107 in a row in a time where there was no limits to how people can be dirty. What are your thoughts on that, Shane?
Man, I mean, he was just one of the greatest. To be able to go through, and they wasn't just fighting 2 times a year or 3 times a year. They was fighting, they could have been fighting like 15 times a year or something, 12 times a year. They were fighting every weekend or every month. So yeah, it was just a different era, different period where people wanted, like I said, wanted to be the greatest, wanted to be great. Muhammad Ali, fighters that they want to be great. Um, so I think that the mindset with some of these fighters have changed. Well, the fighters now they have changed, and now we need to get the mindset back to old school values. Because you can't reinvent the wheel. The wheel is what it is, and get back to that mindset of wanting to be the best and the honor of it, instead of just the money. You want the money though. That I'm not gonna discount the money. The money is something that you earn from being the best, but that shouldn't be the main focus.
So now, if say for example, we dropped you some 40 years ago back
Mm.
into writing and fighting Marvin Hagler and fighting Tommy Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran and all them, how do you think you would have fared?
I would have felt great. I mean, me and Roberto Duran, because he was my last trainer for I think my last fight was I was 46 years old, and I had Roberto Duran in my corner, and we go back in Panama. We go back and forth, and who would have won? He said he would have beat me. I said I would have beat him. Um, but yeah, I think I would have felt really good because I was very strong physically, and I had the grit. I had a good chin. I had a good punching speed and everything. So. Um, I would have felt really, really good in that era because of that. A lot of times, a lot of these fighters they don't fare too well because they wouldn't fare too well because they're moving around, trying to stay out the way, and trying to get hit, and scared to get hit, and so like you can't be afraid to be hit in that era. I think that the whole era period, basketball, football, whatever, it was more physical. It's more gritty. So you had to be physical.
If you look at Marvin Hagler, look at your footage, ladies and gentlemen. If you look at the footage between Marvin Hagler and Thomas Hearns, they say that was the greatest 3 minutes of boxing ever. They were
Yeah.
laying the lumber on each other, and it's hard to even say who won that. It seemed like it was a draw in terms of
Yeah.
that. What an era! Now we're gonna for those who just joined us, we're talking to the iconic man himself, Mr. Sugar Shane Mosley. We will get your questions momentarily as well. Now, one fighter that a lot of people don't talk about, but I'm sure you're familiar with, he's one of the most dangerous fighters back in the 80s. And as a matter of fact, there was rumors, I don't know if it's true or not, but they said that Thomas Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard were, fearful.
Aaron Pryor.
The bingo. What are
I
your thoughts on the
love Aaron
man?
Pryor. I love Aaron Pryor too because that's what I'm saying. There you go with the grit, the mindset. There, he has that mindset, and he had the type of mentality where you had to pretty much you had to kill him to win. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? When he fought Alexis Aguilera, very tough, hits very hard, but drop him, he'd get right back up and keep going. It was that mindset, that will to win, and yeah, that was like I said, those are the type of things I would watch in a fight or a fighter to help mold me. That's what I said. The fighters of the '80s were the type of fighters that I would look at, not just them throwing punches and boxing, but I would watch when they go up and do the stare down, when when they got hit, what was their reaction? Like just everything about them. That when they walked out to the fight, the way they talk. Like, I remember Marvin Hagler when he says, I've been feeding the faith, I've been starving the doubt, and there's no doubt in my mind that I won't, win this fight, I won't knock you out. And he meant it. And he had, war, that's on my mind. So, he meant that. You know what I'm saying? Then it showed in the fight when they fought Tom Hearns. They went to war.
Now, Shane, when you talk about fighters like Aaron Pryor, how would you have been able to deal with him? Because again, you look at your monitor, ladies and gentlemen, he was tireless energy. You knock him down, he get back up. He was like a Wolverine. How would you have been
Mhm.
able to handle him?
Well, the thing was, I had somebody that was just like him when I was sparring with. He was world champion, and Zach Padilla. Zach Padilla broke records throwing the most punches in fights with Sherard Vera, and he beat Roger Mayweather. He beat a lot Juan Laporte. He beat a lot of good fighters, and I was actually his sparring partner. I wasn't even champion yet. But we would spar in a 15 by 15-foot ring, and he would just throw non-stop punches. We would spar 12 rounds. I sparred 12 rounds a day with this guy. And that's why I was the fighter I was, because of these guys. Because that's why I threw a lot of punches, um, went really good to the body, stayed right in the pocket really good because sparring with these guys like that. So I would have felt pretty well with Aaron Pryor with that because I was trained to fight people like him. Well, coming up. And that's why I fought like I fought. That's why I felt like I just ran right to him and just started throwing a lot of punches and hard, fast, and I didn't care. I almost fought like Aaron Pryor, if you will. Like if you watch that lightweight, I was pretty much like Aaron Pryor. I would just go out there and just go get him. So,
Well, you're absolutely telling the truth because I look at the footage of you. You know, your punches were so fast they had a zip to them. I'll never forget it.
mm,
And it was
mm,
most fighters didn't even see him coming. And one
mm,
thing that was very interesting is that you beat a prime Oscar De La Hoya twice.
mm, mm.
And that was a man that stood much, he was taller than you, he had longer arms. But what was your technique? How were you able to take down Oscar De La Hoya twice?
Well, you know that I actually beat Oscar 3 times. So I beat him as an amateur. Say Oscar's from he's from he's from East LA. I'm from Pomona. We're in the same area. Um, I was the number one guy in California all the time. That he wanted to come after me. And then I guess when he turned pro, well, he won the Olympics and turned pro, and then he kind of like surpassed me. Everybody was on Oscar, win the gold medal and all that stuff. But I actually he fought the Olympics at 137, 132. I fought the Olympics, or I was an alternate at 139. I was actually bigger than Oscar. And then Pepper Riley 147. So it, when they said, "Oh, fight Oscar, move up to welterweight and fight him," was like, I know I'm bigger than him anyway. I'm stronger than him anyway. I know this. So I think for that fight, what happened was when he fought Trinidad, he was moving around the ring a lot. Remember, he fought Trinidad. He started moving around the ring, and then he lost the fight. I think they kind of won the fight, but he lost, right? So he figured that he's gonna come after me because boxing was the wrong thing to do, I guess, for Trinidad. So that was the wrong thing to do for me too, because it was better for him to come to me than for him to go away from me. I felt, it's more easier fight that way. The second time he fought, he used Roger Mayweather's method of moving around, jabbing, and saying when boxing. And it was actually a more harder fight the second time than it was the first time.
No,
You
no,
have to,
why was it? Because he was moving around more?
because he was moving, he was boxing. Because Floyd Mayweather Sr. had him boxing, so I had to go after him. And he's taller than me, he has a long jab, so I had to like go after him and try to get in and mix it up, make it happen. But the first fight, he came right after me because he lost Trinidad boxing, and I just it was more of an easier time for me to touch it with the jabs, 1-2s, and stay out the way.
Very good. Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, we're speaking to the iconic man himself, Mr. Sugar Shane Mosley on the Sherard Show. We're going to come up for some air. Then when we come back, we're going to talk about what it was like in the ring with Floyd Mayweather in 2010, and then also Canelo Alvarez in 2012. I'm Sherard. We'll be right back right after this. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sherard Show. I'm your host, Sherard, for our very special Friday conversation with the man himself, Mr. Sugar Shane Mosley, speaking all things boxing as well as his experiences in the ring. Now, Shane, in 2010, you fought a fight against Floyd Mayweather, which was an incredible one because in the second round, you hit Floyd with a shot that almost knocked him down. And it was an incredible one that many people speak about, but also it was two tacticians that were in the ring. What was your experience like fighting Floyd?
First, before I say the experience of fighting him, a lot of people didn't know that I was actually injured when I fought him, snowboard accident, whatever. So when I did hit him, I couldn't finish him because the groin pull, whatever it was, wouldn't allow me to move. And I think that even with Canelo, you can kind of still see that I couldn't move quickly to the person like I normally do. And that's why people was like, why did he hit the right hand? And then all of a sudden he didn't do anything. It's because because I couldn't move, and Floyd figured that out. Because what happened was Floyd stayed in the pocket and was like, "Okay, I could take your shot." That surprised him with the right hand by hitting him with the right hand, then the second round too. So you can hear after that, Roger, man, was boxing, man, what you doing? You standing right there, boxing, move. And when he did that, that nullified me because I didn't have any legs. To go after him. So I just had to fight the way I fought. Um, But fighting Floyd, I noticed that he was very technically sound, very sharp, um, very smart, and knew when to strike. Knew how to get out evade the shots the right way. Like I said in the beginning, he didn't because he was a little cocky. His ego was like, okay, I'm gonna stay right in the pocket. I'm gonna deal with him right here. And then when he found out he couldn't do that, then he started, going back to moving, which you're supposed to do anyway, and boxing, the way Roger told him. And the rest was history. After that, I couldn't do anything from there.
Now,
And I
was that one of your most difficult fights?
that wasn't a difficult fight. It was a more of a frustrating fight for me. Being that I see stuff, being that I see the knockout, I see that if I was okay, I could have knocked him out. I see that I can just like he was vulnerable for a lot of my shots, but I couldn't capitalize on anything. It's like, having something, having that thing and you can't use it. Having a gun and you can't pull the gun, you can't pull the trigger, you just gotta sit there and just take it, for the whole round. It's like,
Mhm.
it is
Now
what it is.
you now
But go
you
ahead.
fought Pacquiao, correct?
I fought everybody. Pacquiao too, yeah.
Because
And,
you
and
never ducked anybody. But now
Pacquiao's the same thing. I had a pop Achilles, and people I don't know if he knows it, but people will tell you they know because I was in the NBA league. Remember the NBA league? And
I do.
yeah, yeah. So I was playing there, and I ran down the court. Pop. I signed the contract Friday, popped it on Sunday, and then fought him 4 months later.
And
Pacquiao
and it typically takes 6 months for that to heal.
or longer.
Wow. Oh wow.
Or longer. But I was in ice and I was doing therapy and all that stuff. So, it was a $7 million fight. So, I'm like, you might not be able to get that again. So,
Mhm.
I was going to take my chances, try to get with the overhand right with like Marquez did him. But Pacquiao also it was a good fighter too as well. He had very fast hands. He felt like a little robot. Like when I was blocking his shots, it was like little pistons. I was like, dang, he's like, but yeah, very strong, very fast. I found a way to know the fight that like to kind of slow him down where he couldn't come in. I kept going to the left. And if you notice, after the fight, I had blood blisters on my right foot. Remember, and people thought it was because of the shoes. It wasn't because of the shoes. It was because I had popped my Achilles. So if you look at the fight, at the end of it, it's blood blisters on my right foot, and it was bad. They showed it afterwards.
So now Pacquiao is known for throwing a lot of punches as well. So how were you able to slip those and get through those? Because you don't see an end typically of how many punches he's going to throw at a barrage.
Well, the thing was, I'm very fast and I'm very crafty, so I was able to just move off to the right. So basically, if I'm standing with my 2 feet here, I'm moving my right foot behind me, and I kept going to my left, evading his straight left hand. So when I went back to the right, that's when he dropped me in the second round because I was trying to um, stay in the pocket and catch you with a overhand right. But I didn't have enough spring or enough whatever to do that. So when he caught me, I said, oh, that's like the second round or something like that. When he caught me, I was like, oh, I'm okay. I'm gonna have to like move around and touch that touch and maybe later on if I catch him or something. But I don't have the wheels to be able to do it. And if you go back and watch the Pacquiao fight, you can look at my left calf. My left calf looks like a toothpick, and my right calf looks a little bit like a toothpick too, but a little bit bigger than my left. Just go back and check it out, yeah, and then see how I'm moving. How I'm not really bouncing. I'm really just turning, and jabbing, turning, jabbing. You know.
Now, Shane, you started boxing in 1993 as an amateur, and then you fought all the way to 2016. Is that correct?
No, I started boxing in 1989 as an amateur, and I
Okay.
started boxing professionally in 1993.
Now you built an amateur record of 250 and 16. You know how incredible of a record that is?
It's crazy. I mean, I was boxing before there was even books. It could have been even more than that, 250 more than 250 because I was boxing before they had the books. And I started boxing in 1979.
Wow, wow. So now, Shane, you were mentioning you fought up until you're 46 years old, and
Yeah,
Roberto Duran was in your corner. Now, people don't know
yeah,
Roberto Duran fought until he was 50. In
yeah,
2001, he actually retired. He was 50 years old then. That's how much he loved it. But now,
yeah.
fighters these days who fight that long, are they doing it for the love of it or for the money or a little bit of both?
A little bit of both, but for me, I was doing it for because the money is not the same as it was when you're, in your heyday or whatever. But I still had good money, and but the thing is, like right now, I can get in the ring. I get in the ring and spar with guys here in Puerto Rico and work with them, or like let's just say I'll get in there with Manson Rao or Kitty Tapia or some of the other fighters here. You know, even the guy fighters too. I'll get in the ring and spar with him, and I still do. I look good. I'm still sharp. So I love, love to be in the ring, sparring, moving. But I know that because I am older, that I can't, that I shouldn't do it, and I should be careful, like how I do it. But it's crazy because I'm still good enough to be in there with top 10 guys right now as we speak. Like I can go, but I won't do it because I know that I shouldn't do it, but I can do it.
So now, like fighters like Roy Jones Jr., who's fighting still in their 50s, or was fighting to their 50s. What's with that
Mhm.
when it comes to fighting that long? Is it just fighters don't have anything else, or they just can't get
It's
it? That's
it's
all
the
they know.
ego thing. It's the ego thing, and that's what we gotta realize. We can't let the ego get the best of us. And Roy is kind of he's a little bigger, so he fighting with the big boys. He got to watch out too. He was fighting with big boy. That's why he started at 160 and then he went to heavyweight and then cruiserweight. But his heyday is more like 175 or something like that, right? And then now, he's older and he's getting there with heavyweights. That might be a little bit too big. Because heavyweights nowadays, they like 6'6" and all that stuff. Roy might be 6 feet. I don't know, 5'11", 6 feet. You know what I'm saying? So that's not too cool. Especially be older too.
Now, Shane, something that's sad about that I it breaks my heart about boxing is
Mm,
that you are the ones taking the blows. And so often, and I've had Boom Boom Mancini on the show, I've had Michael Spinks, I've had
mm,
Austin Trout and so many others. And there's a sad
mm,
side of boxing. And one of the sad
mm,
sides about is that when you see fighters who are punch drunk and they're broke
yeah.
because there's no pension for boxers. Football players, NFL, baseball, hockey, they have pension, but a
Mm.
fighter, if he gets ripped off and he's too old to fight, he's just broke and sick. What can we do to change and fix that?
Ooh. That's a $1 million question. I believe having some kind of pension program will definitely help. Being that boxing is like an individual sport, it's kind of hard. Like um, you have the hockey players, the football players, and all these. They have a team, and then and a league and all that stuff to be able to, to do that for them. Whereas a boxer, it's more one on one. This it's like you're your own entity, so you have to like kind of do it yourself. And being a fighter and being the top fighter, you can't really. It's hard to like um know about the business part of it until like later on to the last part of your career, and then after that, that's when you lose on you're on your way out, and you have to try to figure out how you're gonna recoup some money back because pretty much everybody around you, and these are all fighters. A lot of fighters I see that we're very giving to our family, to our friends, to our people around us that we love. We want to give and want to see them better. But then you give, 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 and then it's all gone. Then you go back and be like, okay, well, I'm hurting now. Like, what's going on? Like, I need something, and nobody's there for me. You know, after you done gave everything. So that's what fighters have to be. careful about. I think that if they have some kind of business plan while they're fighting, or somebody that can look out for 'em. Maybe there's a financial, um, some kind of financial sporting thing that they'll come to the fighters and tell them before they, lose all their money, or before they give it up to their everybody. That they can put it here, put it there, or whatever.
Very
You
good.
know.
And then we're going to take your questions momentarily. Now,
Yeah.
Shane, my question before we take the questions from the audience is, when do you know as a fighter it's time to hang it up? Because so many
Mhm.
fighters stay in a ring too long and then they suffer. Like, for example, Bernard Hopkins in his last fight, he was 50 years old, he got knocked out the ring. But so often, fighters stay in the ring a little too long and their ego get the best of them and they have an embarrassing defeat. What are some of the signs that let you know, it's time to give it up?
Well, I know it's when I'm in sparring and I'm not, if I can't be 100% in the ring, I know I'm like at 80, 70%, 80%. I'm like, I have to give it up. It's like my last fight, I fought this guy, David Nevanesian. I was telling you what Roberto Duran was. Yeah, it was a close fight. It could go either way. And Russian kid, and I believe I was 46, he was 26 or something like that. So I was like, let's get rid of this young guy. I mean, yeah, let's get rid of this old guy and make way for the young guy. But I noticed in the fight that I would hit him and rock him, and I couldn't pull the trigger all the way to like get him out of there. Um, so I think that, when you start feeling frustrated in the ring because you see stuff, but you just can't do it, it's time to, and you trained, you worked hard, you did everything you're supposed to do. Like, it's time to give it up. And sometimes the age can get to you. Yeah, the age gets to you, and you're like your timing's not the same. It's not as quick, and you don't respond as fast. Not saying that the guy's smart, but you just don't respond as fast. Those shots I was getting hit with, I was getting mad at myself for getting hit with the shot. I'm thinking about like what's going on in the ring. Like he's doing something, and I'm like, oh man, really? Like I'm talking to myself. I'm like, yeah, it's time to like hang it up, because I can't fight on that level and be 100% and win. Like if I win, yeah, it's cool, but I know that I'm not winning the right way, even if I win. So
There was a period where you went on a 23 fight win streak,
right.
where you were laying out everybody or you're winning in terms of
Mm.
that. Boxing is the only sport where you can't play it. You can't
Can't
play
play it.
boxing, which
No.
leads me to my question. You trained Jake Paul, you said, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Now, what are your thoughts on him as a boxer? Is that skill does he really have the skill of a boxer?
Yeah. Yeah. He really does. He started off. Um, let's say I get somebody off the street that's an athlete that wants to work out and fight. He actually accomplished a lot more than anybody that I could work with in that period of time, as an athlete, and became a real fighter. To actually get in the ring with Anthony Joshua or any of those guys. Well, Anthony Joshua, the other fighters actually had some fights with the under their belts as far as was the Anderson and some of the UFC fighters. They actually had some fights on their belt. Whereas you know he trained, he ate the right way, he did everything a fighter's supposed to do. I pretty much mentally taught him how to be a fighter. He was training my gym in Big Bear, and I actually showed him this is what you do to be a real fighter. This is what you got to do to be a real fighter. And he took to it, and he got a team together, and he played. He went by the playbook, and here you are. I mean, he's fighting real fighters.
Mhm. Well, in being
6 years
trained by
later, 7 years later, whatever it is.
being trained by you, Sugar Shane, he definitely has a shot with what he does, definitely. So, well, it's time for the questions. We're going to take a few questions for the champ here. This one is from Mr. Wiley Anderson. He says, "What an episode! What an interview to have the iconic Mr. Sugar Shane Mosley on the show." He's saying, "Champ," he's saying hello all the way from Chicago, and his question to you is, "Who was your toughest opponent you ever fought or faced in the ring?"
My toughest opponent would probably be Winky Wright, because I fought at 154, but he had a really good defense, southpaw, and just a hard fight to fight. I mean, I fought him at 54, which was the heaviest I've been. But you can see that he went up and fought at 160 and 168. He fought Bernard. I mean, he fought all these different people. So it was just a tough, grueling fight. Not that he punched hard. It was just, yeah, technically tough and just bigger.
Thank you, Mr. Wiley. So now let me interject this before we get to the next question. So southpaws are pretty odd. They're pretty awkward to fight, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, for some people, southpaws aren't that hard. For some people, they're harder. But I had a lot of great southpaws that I had to like face, like Pacquiao and Winky and a few others that they were a little hard, but you know, um, yeah, for me, southpaws are hard. And in the beginning, southpaws are hard for Floyd too. Floyd didn't like southpaws either.
Mhm.
So,
Very good. Thank you. Now, and appreciate your question, Mr. Wiley. This one is from Mr. John Witt. This is from Mr. John Witt. He's in Sarasota, Florida. He said, "My one of my favorite fighters, Sherard, finally has on the show. That means myself, Mr. Sugar Shane Mosley. So excited." His question to you is, when it comes down to the fighters of today, which ones are your favorite between the Terrence Crawfords and the heavyweights, Anthony Joshua you mentioned? Who are some of your favorite fighters?
I mean, Terrence Crawford is definitely a fan favorite for me. Terrence Crawford. But I would say I like fighters like David Benavidez. He throws a lot of shots, come to you. He's very aggressive. Um, who else would be good? I'm really interested to see this Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez fight. That's gonna be a nice one. Uh, I'm not sure. Hmm.
Well, Terrence Crawford is certainly a great one, as you
Yeah.
mentioned. Now, one thing that's interesting, and I'll interject this before we take the last question. Now, when I was growing up, heavyweight was the most prominent of the divisions. It was
Yeah, me
heavyweight, and
too.
everything else came from that. But now it seems like it's lightweight and heavyweight. I mean, lightweight and welterweight takes precedence over heavyweight. You think that's going to change back to what it was before?
I don't know. It could. I think that because the heavyweights are now in different countries, so maybe they're not taking to the heavyweights like that, like they used to. Before it was, Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, it was the United States, and then you had a little bit of England. But now it seems that the heavyweights are moving to a different, country or whatever. So now we don't really watch it as much. It's more because more the weight classes like from 130 to maybe even 154, 168 now. Yeah, it's up in those areas right there. Yeah.
Very good. All right, good. Well, we have time. Champ is busy, so we got time for one more question. Now this one is from Jesse. This is from Jesse Anderson. He's all the way in California. He said he's in, what is he? Oh, he's in Chatsworth, California. He said it's
Yes, yes.
incredible, incredible, incredible interview. We really appreciate you, Champ, stopping by on the Sherard Show. His question is, what does it feel like to be the champion of the world as a boxer?
It feels really good. It feels like you have accomplished your goal, because a lot of times not a lot of people can become world champion, and a lot of people are not like great as in that aspect, Hall of Famers as well, So to be a champion is like a badge of honor. It's like, I've really accomplished my goal, and people recognize me for what I've done. So yeah, it's ultimate. It's ultimate. Ultimate feelings. Ultimate, thing to be the world champion. Yeah.
Very good. Now, Jam, we would love to have you in our LA studios. We got to arrange to have you in our Los Angeles studios in person
Oh,
because so many people want to meet you
okay.
here, and we're going to arrange to have that as well. Champ, where can they be able to reach out to you, the fans, the millions who are watching and want to connect with you? Where can they reach out to you?
Well, I mean, I'm on Instagram, Shane Mosley. I believe it's Shane Mosley underscore Shane Mosley with the blue track check, and that's where I usually hang out at. So yeah.
No, your son boxes correct as well, right?
Yeah, my son Shane Mosley Jr. He's actually doing really good, and He lost his last fight, but it was a good close fight with Jesus Ramos, and he'll be looking to try to fight for world title pretty soon.
Very good. We're rooting for him as well. He's very skilled, like his dad. And you
Yeah,
and Shane Mosley's dad for Jack. He's an incredible
yeah.
fighter as well. So Shane,
Yeah.
any final thoughts?
Um, yeah, I mean, look out for me. I have the Mosley Foundation of Love here in Puerto Rico and out there in LA, Mosley Foundation. It's a charity that is helping the kids and in the community and stuff like that. Oh no. Can you see me? Oh,
There
okay,
you go.
there,
There you go.
there we go. All right. Yeah, somebody called. So but yeah, Mosley Foundation of Love and Eagle. Follow me on Twitter on that one too as well.
Mhm. Well, Shane, we want to thank you so much for stopping by the Sherard Show today. Again, this is just part one. We're going to have him in the studio in LA as well, honoring him and his incredible, illustrious career and all he's done for the industry of boxing and just being an inspiration and a gentleman and a scholar as well. If you're new to boxing, you make sure you go to YouTube and see how great this fighter really was. As he's an absolutely incredible record and one of my biggest fans. I'm one of my dad's favorite, and I'm a huge fan of his as well. It's absolutely incredible. Stay tuned on our next episode of the Sherard Show, where we have the icon herself, Holly Berry, stopping by on the show. You don't want to miss that. For Sugar Shane Mosley and all those who are watching, always remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever want to soar with the Eagles, stop hanging around turkeys. I'm Sherard. See you next time. Bye now.